Hey, what's up everybody? It has been exactly 1 year since I released my EP, Music in Color. So today I thought it'd be fun to kind of go back and revisit the album, review the album, kind of see what worked and what maybe I'd like to improve upon. I'm going to listen to each song all the way through and I'm going to try not to stop. And after each song I'll kind of give my thoughts about it. Let's get started. What I did there. I was getting a little teary-eyed there because it's like, this is all me. Like, I didn't purchase a backing track from some guy and just played guitar over it or anything like that. It's like, no, I wrote this. Like, I didn't make the samples and like the kick drums and snares all myself. No, I didn't do that, but like, I'm the guy that composed this. This is all me. No one else had really anything into this. This is my production. This is my thought onto the page, onto the music file. That's crazy to think about. For it to sound, in my opinion, this good, and it's just me. It gets me a little teary-eyed. Let's talk about Pacific Sunset. I'd like to think that every single song on this EP is a banger. There are no filler tracks, if that makes sense. There's no filler tracks. There's no standout track. Every single one is just top of the chart, #1 Billboard chart level. That was my goal for each individual song. There's no filler songs. Admittedly, Pacific Sunset is the title track. It is the song, right? It's the song you would buy the EP for, right? You know, if you go out to Barnes & Noble or you go out to Walmart and you buy a CD, which, who buys CDs anyway? But you go out and buy a CD, this is the song you buy the Music and Color EP for, is Pacific Sunset. It's definitely like an LA pop, LA bubble pop sound. That was kind of the whole idea for the album, is pop music, but with the guitar as the lead voice. You know, I'm not a singer. I'm definitely not a female singer, which a lot of pop music is female vocal driven. So my idea was, well, what if I just take a pop song, instead of writing the lyrics and hiring Dua Lipa or Katy Perry for it, I just play my guitar. And so I think that works in many ways, because it's a really vocal melody. It's really catchy. You know, I write it as if I'm writing a pop song. I write it to be really catchy, to be really energetic, to be really fun to sing and to hum, and something gets stuck in your ear. The downside of that is what a guitar can do and what a guitar sounds best doing isn't always what matches for like a good vocal melody or a good an ear-catching vocal melody. So I kind of took, what was that, verse 2? I kind of took verse 2 to be like a solo section. Verse 1 is kind of establishing the pop vocal melody sound, and then verse 2 is kind of me just taking off. And funnily enough, that run at the end of the verse into the pre-chorus section, I have no clue what I did there. I can't replicate that. I can replicate the last like 2 notes, that other than that, I don't know what the heck I did. The guitar I used for, I think, every single lead tone was this Epiphone Les Paul, and it has this feature where if you select the middle pickup and then pull this pot out, it will actually put the pickups out of phase. Brian May's Red Special guitar does the same thing. It gives you that really screaming, high harmonic kind of sound. But aside from that, I don't know what the heck I did. And then I kind of continue that idea of just screaming, kind of into that second chorus. The idea behind this song was like kind of like feeling the heat come off the blacktop down the LA strip or something like that, you know? Like the sun's setting and like everything's coated in like red and blacks, and it's like just this warm, comforting heat, and you can feel the heat coming off the road. You're driving down the Sunset Strip in like your Corvette or something. I don't know, something like that, you know? This song was kind of, it's kind of my longing for that level of success to be like, hey, I made it. I'm in LA. I am an LA musician. I am here. You know, I have a house in LA. I'm successful as a producer, successful as a musician. You know, I live in LA, that kind of thing. It's like me longing for that success. LA or the Pacific Sunset, being able to see the Pacific Sunset is symbolic of my desire to have that level of success as a musician. The first thing that jumps out at me about this is I'm really proud of my composition as a whole. How I structure the song, the melodies I wrote, the backings that I wrote, the synth, the 808s, I'm all really proud of that. I think all of that holds up supremely well, and that's why I was getting teary-eyed. It's just like, is this me? I wrote this. The tracks for this are in my I have the files for this song, the original stems. I have those, personal. This is mine. That's what was getting me teary-eyed, is I think that the composition holds up very well. The thing I dislike least about it, and what I dislike least about the album, are the lead guitar tones as a whole, which is regrettable because it's a lead guitar focused album, right? So I think the problem was twofold. One, I didn't really have an amp that was able to produce that level of high gain, aside from my Vox Cambridge 50, which is honestly a great amp, and in the room it sounded incredible. But, one, it was a solid state amp. The second problem was I had it absolutely cranked. So I was feeling and hearing a lot more bass response and a lot more fullness than maybe there actually was coming out of the amp. So by the time I stick a microphone in front of the amplifier and it gets into the system, but then I have to pull that volume level way down, it ends up sounding a little bit thin or nasal or sharp, which is what I think has happened. So when you first hear the guitar tone, it kind of grabs you for a second. You're like, oh, that's not super great. You get used to it, I think. I think you get used to it. I wish I had like a JCM 800 or a 5150 or a 6505 that I could have used, but I just didn't have that. So I made do with what I did, and I think I did well with what I had. Love that bass line. Come on. Weightless Ocean. I had two strong ideas for this album. One was Pacific Sunset, and one was Dimensional Divergence. I didn't want to do a 2-song EP. I know I needed 3 songs. So Weightless Ocean I thought was going to be a filler song. But it turned into something I didn't expect it to be. Jeez. Weightless Ocean. I think I titled that partly because the societal expectations for a musician, like myself, they could just be huge. They could just feel like they're huge pressures on you, like you're crushed at the bottom of the ocean, like the pressure is just astronomical. That's what it can feel like. So for whatever reason, I decided to name it Weightless Ocean, as if there was no weights on me. Maybe at the end of the song, the whole song kind of builds up to this huge moment of realization. Of my guitar just screaming. I don't know what I realized, but it's such a high emotional point for this album. I realized something. This whole song kind of builds to that point, and it's just, here's your realization. I don't know what it is I realized, but the bridge section beforehand is only 2 notes on the lead guitar. 2 notes for the bass. I was thinking it was like F and then B flat. But my lead guitar is just 2 notes. I think A flat and B flat maybe. It's almost like you're talking. When we talk, we don't talk with huge notes and dynamic range. We kind of talk in a smaller pocket. So right now I'm talking maybe in 3 or 4 notes. So this was kind of an exercise in me. It's like, can I tell a story? Can I convey an emotion, convey a thought with just 1 or 2 notes? And so that was the idea behind this bridge section. The idea was for it to be really conversational. And eventually it breaks out into me starting to rip and me starting to just scream. Just maybe I'm crushed underneath this ocean, I just want to scream, and all of a sudden the ocean becomes weightless or something. I don't know. This song is really special to me. It kind of came out of nowhere. Let's keep moving on. Dimensional divergence. I had this one in the pocket for a long time. Um, I only gave it a name, making this album, and I think I decided upon the name, one, because it sounds cool, two, there's kind of the divergence between the person, the musician I want to be, and maybe what people expect I to be. It's kind of about expectations again, but a lot of people think I want to be some like rock star or some huge producer guy like Quincy Jones or something like that. It's like, no, I don't. I kind of just want to have, live at peace and enjoy life, and playing music is a part of that, sure, but I'd love to play music professionally full time, but that's not the goal. The goal is to have a good life, to be able to enjoy life, to not have to worry about bills or not have to worry about, so many adult things, just to be able to enjoy life, and that's the divergence between who I want to be, the life I want to live, and the life that many people think I should be having or should be doing, This song is kind of similar to Pacific Sunset in many ways. It's got 4 on the floor, 808s, but it's different in a lot of ways too. Pacific Sunset is kind of an LA bubble pop. This is more like an 80s vaporwave. I took that big sliding synth inspiration from that from Reeve by Lucide, and also Secret of the Forest by Chrono Trigger. And I just kind of ran with that idea. There's some parts of this song where you can almost hear words, and I don't know exactly what these words mean, but one of them is "Don't think twice." I hear those words somewhere. Don't think twice. I hear those words. I don't know what those words mean, but I hear them. I also hear, I've been here the whole time, or been there the whole time. And I think the reason why I hear that is because, this huge sliding synth at the beginning. Those notes are actually in the chords of the song pretty much the whole time. Like those individual notes, they're in the chords. I mean, they're not as forward as that sliding synth is. But if I remember correctly, I intentionally programmed those notes into every chord change of the song. Even in Weightless Ocean, you can hear the words. It goes on and on and on and on. It goes on and on and on. My goal with this song was to close out the album at the highest emotional point, so I left it with this huge sense of release, this huge sense of catharsis. That was the goal. It's just to leave you with this huge sense of, I listened to this album for nearly 14 minutes, and just finally there's this huge sense of, maybe it's kind of like a whole story arc. You try to tell a whole story through a song or a whole story through an album, and I'm trying to leave the listener with this part where he finally gets to take a breath after holding it for so long. It's finally just this huge sense of catharsis. That was the idea. Well, hey, thanks for watching. I didn't expect to get emotional, but I did. That's okay. If you haven't listened to my album, it's on YouTube, Instagram, Spotify, and iTunes. Thanks for watching. See ya.